has taken some big steps forward. INS Mahendragiri is bringing stealth, sensors and networked systems to the sea. Rustam is giving the forces an unmanned eye that can stay aloft for hours. And INS Malwan is designed to hunt submarines in shallow coastal waters. How do you stop a swarm of drones? That is where Bhargavastra comes in. India's indigenous counter-drone system is designed to detect and deal with unmanned aerial threats, including multiple drones approaching a protected area. But the threat is not always in the sky. Out at sea, India needs warships that can see first. Commissioned this year, Mahendragiri is the 6th Project 17A stealth frigate to join the Indian Navy. Mahendragiri's design is intended to reduce its signature, making it harder for an adversary to detect and track. Developed by the Aeronautical Development Establishment, Rustam is an indigenous family.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching GRAVITAS. I'm Modi Gambhir. Let's get started. Got a special lineup for you tonight. First, we decode for you how the Russia-Ukraine war is expanding, how the battlefield is continuously changing, and how these developments are raising serious questions and concern. A massive wave of Russian strikes used nuclear-capable ballistic missiles. We tell you how Russia is also exploiting the acute shortages of the Patriot air defense systems. In fact, Russia claims that around 1,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed in combat in just the last 24 hours. We get you more on that and decode those developments. Also on the show for you tonight, Canada threatening to cut off America's power and critical mineral supply. We tell you where things stand right now. America's stunning Syria U-turn from a terror list to a US partner. We tell you what this is all about and get to the complete story. Is the Pakistan Army's reputation hitting an all-new low, and is it in fact at its lowest? We tell you what the people on the ground are saying. Gamers are in demand, but not for the reasons that you think. Germany wants them to become secret agents. America has already faced backlash over the hiring of gamers for air traffic controlling. We tell you more about this. Also getting you the latest on the border talks between Ajit Doval and the Chinese foreign minister. From South India, we put the spotlight on that major row brewing as the Tamil Nadu minister alleges bribe being paid to the DMK. A lot to decode, all this and a lot more coming up. Tonight on GRAVITAS, we are taking you beyond the Russia-Ukraine battlefield and decoding what's actually been happening behind the scenes. It's not just the usual exchange of fire on the ground. This is about a series of extraordinary developments which shows just how far the two sides are really going and how the war seems to be expanding. How Moscow is sending out a chilling warning to its adversaries beyond the battlefield of Ukraine. Let's decode this bit by bit. Again, with the US side stepping in a way, the European allies are coming together, putting up that united front to stand by Ukraine. More weapons, more aid, more support is being promised by the so-called coalition of the willing. Let's first get to the very latest from the battlefield. A lot to unpack there. Russian forces are unleashing another wave of missiles and drones across Ukraine as Kiev struggles with that growing shortage of Patriot interceptors. Not just that, at the same time, Moscow is putting a new nuclear weapon carrier through sea trials. From the Ukrainian battlefield to the depths of the ocean, Russia seems to be displaying two very different forms of firepower, essentially. The night sky over Ukraine lit up once again. Take a look. In fact, in that latest assault, Russia launched around 150 drones along with a ballistic missile and an air-to-surface missile. Ukraine saying its air defenses destroyed or jammed as many as 124 drones, but strikes were recorded at 17 locations. Ukraine, in fact, says Russian attacks across the country killed at least 5 people and injured about 100. Chernihiv Oblast was among the hardest hit after Russia launched a wave of strikes following Ukraine's Independence Day. The Russian military claiming that it has destroyed a drone crew of the Ukrainian military. The Russian Ministry of Defense also claiming that it has eliminated about 1,000 Ukrainian troops. Now, these are claims made by both Russia and Ukraine on a daily basis. It's also hard to really verify what's happening on the ground, really, in the fog of war. Let's also tell you how one missile used in the latest assault is also causing a lot of concern. According to the Ukrainian military, Russian forces fired a dual-capable missile system that can carry either conventional or nuclear warheads. Now, there is no indication that a nuclear warhead was used in this attack. This missile system travels at hypersonic speeds. We are talking about between Mach 6 to Mach 7. So that's roughly around 7,500 to 9,300 kilometers per hour. During its terminal phase, as it dives towards a target, it can accelerate up to Mach 7.3 to even Mach 8. Now, the Russian Ministry of Defense released these images, which basically claim to show the destruction of a Ukrainian Flamingo long-range cruise missile launch site. And it's also coming at a time when Ukraine is under a lot of pressure to stop such ballistic threats. Patriot interceptors are in short supply. And Ukraine is once again asking Western allies for more systems as Russia keeps combining ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, huge drone waves. Zelensky once again warning that Russia could escalate the conflict later this year by mobilizing around 300,000 additional forces, additional troops after parliamentary elections in the month of September. Now, the so-called coalition of the willing, basically a group of countries backing Ukraine, has promised to come to the aid of Ukraine, but to what extent is the question. One pressing problem remains largely beyond their control, which is securing additional Patriot interceptor missiles. Listen to this.
The last weeks were very clear about the fact that we have to accelerate the delivery of interceptors. And we had this coalition, the Freya coalition, and the Integrated Anti-Ballistic Missile Coalition launched the 13th of July. I think it's very important that all of us accelerate in terms of delivery. We had a 2-hour discussion 2 days ago with Volodymyr, so I don't want to be longer here, but we will accelerate on the French side.
And on the battlefield, Ukraine is hitting back, of course. Kiev says its forces struck an oil refinery in Russia's Krasnodar region, triggering a fire. The refinery has a capacity of around 6.25 million tons of crude oil a year. Ukraine has increasingly targeted Russian energy and military infrastructure deep behind the front line. But the true strategic shockwave is unfolding far beneath the Arctic waters. Russia has launched sea trials for a 10,000-ton nuclear-powered special-purpose submarine. Let's just break this down for you further. This submarine is basically designed to carry Poseidon underwater drones, and reports say the vessel is intended to carry up to 6 of these weapons. Poseidon is much heavier than usual torpedoes, so special tubes basically were installed in the new submarine. Poseidon is unlike a conventional missile. It's basically a giant nuclear-powered autonomous underwater vehicle designed to travel underwater over very long distances. Before reaching a target, it's intended to carry a nuclear warhead and attack coastal or naval targets. Poseidon is claimed to be capable of generating devastating radioactive contamination and tsunami-like effects. The trials and the continuous use of nuclear-capable and hypersonic missiles sending out a strong message to Russia's adversaries, basically. They show Russia continuing to develop strategic weapons designed to complicate enemy defenses. Above Ukraine, missiles and drones are testing air defenses. Below the ocean, Poseidon is testing the limits of strategic deterrence. Two battlefields, one message from Moscow. Russia is expanding the ways in which it can threaten an adversary. Shifting focus now to the other battlefield. In fact, a new kind of war unleashed by Donald Trump, what's being called Operation Economic Outcast against Iran. Basically seeking total isolation of the Iranian regime. It sounds grand, but can it succeed is the big question. Also, what exactly is this operation about? Let's just lay out the context for you first. According to America, this is an unprecedented campaign to sever every remaining economic lifeline sustaining Iran. So the aim basically is to squeeze Iran economically by exerting financial pressure and mounting that economic offensive. So does this mean failure of the US military operation is what many are asking. Has that led to this switch in strategy? We've been telling you about what's been happening behind the scenes so far. Also, what really is the end game here right now? Is the strategy limited to exerting economic pressure? What's being said? Well, not really. Pete Hegseth has said that the Trump administration was not ruling out using military force against Iran, even as Washington unveiled what it called the economic D-Day against Iran. On the question of whether America is holding back from taking action against Chinese banks for doing business with Iran, the US Treasury Secretary very crucially said that no one is above the reach of the United States sanctions. But the thing is, let's just join the dots for you. For this unprecedented operation, Trump needs China. So what exactly is China saying right now? Beijing has warned that America will be facing consequences. Basically, it has warned the US that it would retaliate against any significant expansion of the Trump administration's new secondary sanctions relating to Iran that hit Chinese companies. Also, the question is, can America actually isolate Iran? It's really not that simple. Trump is threatening not just Iranian companies, you see, but foreign banks, businesses, airports, government entities, ship registries, and financial networks that basically provide Iran with what he calls a lifeline. And the targets include oil smuggling, cash transfers, exchange houses, front companies as well. Also, the thing is, Iran is far too familiar with sanctions. It has lived with them for decades. Years of the US sanctions have already forced Iran to build an alternative trading system, one that relies heavily on China, neighboring countries, intermediaries, and so-called shadow fleets. So that basically brings us to China, which is pretty much the most important part of the puzzle here. You see, Trump cannot completely isolate Iran unless he also can shut down the channels connecting Iran to its biggest buyers, and that could mean confronting China. So will Trump be willing to take that route? Any serious increase of the US sanctions on China specifically would risk exploding their relationship with China only a month before Trump and Xi are scheduled to meet in Washington. Iran for now has responded with defiance, saying the latest US measures were an admission of military defeat, and it warned countries against aiding Washington. In fact, an IRGC spokesperson also said America resorting to economic warfare against Iran is again itself proof of defeat on the battlefield, according to the Iranian state media. The Iranian economy minister also claimed Iran had a 2-year plan to counter Washington's new sanctions. But does it really? As of now, the state of the Iranian economy, what's it looking like? It is facing an extremely difficult combination of war, sanctions, disrupted energy exports, currency pressure, to say the least. The IMF currently projecting Iran's economy will contract 5.4% in 2026. So consumer prices are projected to rise by almost 69% this year. Iran's non-oil economy, however, gives Tehran additional channels at the same time. And Iran's trade, of course, goes well beyond China. But as of now, Iran's currency is crashing. The country's main form of currency, the rial, fell to 2.02 million per dollar on Monday, as per the Associated Press, largely because of the economic toll of the war. The rial was worth 1.65 million per dollar just before the war, which means it now takes 22% more rials to buy $1. And the devalued currency, high inflation are making it harder for Iranians to afford basic needs and adding to their hardship. Also, at the same time, Gulf countries are primarily trying to protect their own economies and security. They are not necessarily signing up to every US objective. And that's where Trump's economic offensive becomes a domestic political hurdle as well. The national average price of regular gasoline, for example, is over $4 a gallon. That's more than 25% above a year earlier. So Trump's economic war creates that paradox in a way. The harder US squeezes Iran or tries to, the longer the Hormuz blockade continues, the greater the risk of an energy-driven inflation problem at home. So it could circle back. Also, can Trump actually win this war if the objective is to make Iran poorer and reduce its ability to finance its military? The answer could be potentially yes. But if the objective is complete economic isolation, as America claims, and forcing Tehran to surrender, that's a huge challenge. If Washington goes after Chinese companies, for example, or Turkish businesses, the Iran campaign could become a much larger confrontation over who controls global trade and finance. So can Trump force Iran to pay the economic price without forcing American consumers to actually pay a part of it as well? Because with oil above $90 a barrel, gasoline around $4 nationally, the economic war is no longer being fought only in Tehran. Some of the costs are already being paid by the Americans. This is no longer just about Iran and the US. It's also a question about who will blink first, China or the US, as both China and Iran are vowing retaliation. After a breakdown in trade talks, Canada has announced counter tariffs on US goods ranging between 15 to 50% from September 8 onwards. Now, this has come in response to Donald Trump imposing that 50% tariff on around $20 billion of Canadian goods. Canada has also announced an aid package of $5.4 billion for workers and firms hit by the US tariffs. Just lay out the context for you first. The Ontario Premier threatened that Canada can cut off electricity and critical minerals supplied to the US. He told the media that everything is on the table if the dispute worsens. He also observed that Trump had underestimated Canadians' willingness to endure economic pain rather than give in to US pressure. Now, why does this matter for the US particularly? You see, critical minerals are increasingly important to American national security. They are essential components of military aircraft, missiles as well as munitions, which have been depleted in the Iran conflict. And as the US tries to reduce its reliance on China, Canada's role is vital as it is a leading global producer of critical minerals. Aluminium, copper, nickel, uranium make up majority of its critical mineral exports, which increased by 3% to $49.4 billion in 2025. Just last year, Canada's critical minerals exports to US reached $28.8 billion, accounting for 57% of the country's critical mineral exports. In terms of electricity as well, Ontario in particular has a leverage as its power grid connects directly across the US border to Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. Last year, the Ontario Premier had planned to impose a 25% surcharge on electricity exported to these three US states. Also, did language play a role here in the scuttling of the talks? While visiting a shipyard in Quebec, the Canadian Prime Minister told attendees that Canada could not accept a proposed trade deal that would have weakened French language protections in the country, basically accusing America of trying to destroy its key industries. And he made it clear that Canada is not a subsidiary of the United States.
We learned that during the negotiations, the Americans want to destroy our major industries, including the automotive industry, the steel and aluminum industries, with negotiation terms that are not fair. And that's one of the main reasons why we said no. It was a bad deal. Okay.
However, Trump accused Carney of lying on the French language issue for political gain. He said, and I'm quoting, "I would never interfere with Canadians speaking French. In fact, I have never been thought of doing such a stupid thing. I have never even thought of doing such a stupid thing." Earlier, the US president claimed that Canada had been ripping off America for years and also hinted that the US may change Lake Ontario's name to Lake America. Trump also repeatedly riled Canada by suggesting that it should become the 51st state of the US, remember. While a trade deal continues to elude both sides, China may emerge as a key beneficiary here. Earlier this year, Canada reached an agreement with China, remember, to remove trade barriers and reduce tariffs. The agreements with China were expected to unlock export orders worth $3 billion for Canadian businesses. And with Canada's latest slew of counter tariffs, it appears extremely likely that tensions between both countries will worsen even further. Time now to take a quick look at the global headlines at this hour, taking you around the world in 120 seconds.
U.S. media says that U.S. Central Intelligence Agency Director John Ratcliffe is visiting Moscow for meetings after flight data showed an American military aircraft flew to the Russian capital. Delhi reports 2,308 H1N1 cases so far, while around 650 cases of flu have also been recorded, taking the total number of reported cases to nearly 3,000. Delhi government is continuously monitoring the situation. The United Nations and the Red Cross warn that the world is dangerously close to a future where so-called killer robots could target humans, and issued an urgent appeal for international regulation of autonomous weapons. Two people were in critical condition and thousands of households were without power after a tornado of severe intensity wreaked havoc in southern France. Floodwaters from Typhoon Nara have inundated streets in Zhengzhou City in China. Around 54,000 people have been relocated, including more than 8,000 moved to emergency shelters. Oil prices fall to a one-week low as traders shrug off the latest U.S. sanctions threat against Iran. Brent crude hover near $92 per barrel, while US crude remains at just under $85.
Until December 2024, Ahmad al-Shara was one of the most wanted terrorists for America, with a bounty of $10 million US. In a dramatic reversal of fortunes, the US now not only values al-Shara as a cherished partner, but has also delisted Syria as a state sponsor of terrorism. It's quite a U-turn. Making that announcement, the US Secretary of State said, I'm quoting, "This action unlocks new potential for Syria's economic revitalization and progress." Also, what was the trigger for America's move is the immediate question. Rubio linked it to the al-Shara-led government's counter-terrorism efforts against ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, and other Iran-aligned groups. So only Iran, Cuba, and North Korea remain on the state sponsor of terrorism list, basically. Emphasizing on the significance of this move, al-Shara stated that Syria has torn away a painful chapter of its past. He also thanked the US president and other friendly nations for the removal of sanctions. Now, this also assumes significance as Syria has been seeking billions of dollars in investment to rebuild after that long civil war. Let's just listen in to what was said.
Today, Syria shakes off a dark stain and tears away a painful chapter of its past to embark on a path of development, reconstruction, and rebuilding. Great people of Syria, you have done it again. The sanctions against you have been lifted and the restrictions removed.
And why was this so crucial for Syria? Here's the context. The country has been on the list since 1979, when Washington accused the government led by the then president of supporting militant groups. While Trump removed major sanctions on Syria in July last year itself, the state sponsor of terrorism tag remained a major deterrent for banks as well as investors. According to the country's finance minister, this would help Syria reconnect to the global economic system and boost investment. Now, the delisting followed months of negotiations between Damascus and Washington over Syria's economic and foreign policy. And according to Reuters, Syria agreed to drastically reduce imports of Russian oil in exchange for removing the terror label, the terror designation. Meanwhile, the mood on the street was positive, with people hoping that it will help improve the current state of affairs. Listen to this.
Now, regarding the sanctions being lifted from the central bank, this is a very positive development. It reflects positively on citizens and could help improve the difficult situation we are living through. As for the banks, both internationally and domestically, dealings and transactions are expected to become better.
And this also raises another question. Can Syria regain its lost glory? It is an ancient land with a rich history and has been home to diverse cultures, ethnicities, religions. During the Caliphate, Damascus was considered the capital of the Islamic world. At present, though Syria is perceived as a balkanized country, its geographical location also plays a key role. The latest move by the US might bolster Syria, which has been demanding an end to strikes and incursions by its western neighbor Israel. Remember, Israel controls Golan Heights, which it captured from Syria in the year 1967, while the UN created a 400 square kilometer area of separation between Golan Heights and Syria after a war in 1973. Israeli forces entered into the demilitarized zone in 2024 after the fall of Bashar al-Assad's government. And the other key player here is Turkey. which controls close to 5% of Syrian territory to the north. With Turkey emerging as one of al-Sharah's main allies, helping train its army and rebuild its state institutions and infrastructure, Israel has become increasingly wary of its influence as well. The situation escalated last week itself when Israel carried out strikes on the Abu al-Duhur base in Syria, reportedly, near the Turkish border. And this drew condemnation from even the US envoy to Syria, who called the attack an unnecessary escalation. Subsequently, Syria and Israel held high-level US-mediated talks in Jordan to revive negotiations for a security agreement. As far as Trump is concerned, al-Sharah's elevation has been critical as the US has gained a key ally in West Asia. The Assad dynasty, which ruled Syria for over 5 decades, shared very close ties with Iran and played a crucial role in empowering Hezbollah. In contrast, the al-Sharah government has disrupted arms supply routes through Syria to Hezbollah in Lebanon. Additionally, it has arrested members of several Syria-based cells linked to Iranian-backed groups in Iraq as well as Lebanon. With Syria finally getting rid of this terror tag, it remains to be seen whether it can also emerge as a key force in the region. So that remains to be seen. More than 3 billion people play video games worldwide, making the gaming community one of the largest and fastest growing groups on the planet. Hardcore gamers are strategic thinkers. They are sharp problem solvers. But can gaming also make one a secret agent? Well, that's what seems to be happening in Germany. The German equivalent of Britain's MI6 is reportedly set to attend the world's largest video game festival in Germany to hunt for a new generation of tech-savvy spies. According to a report by The Telegraph, the agency says gamers have skills that could help fight Russian cyber attacks. It further says there is a significant overlap between gaming skills and the cyber expertise that it needs. Selected gamers will take part in a 5-step challenge, testing their cybersecurity and hacking abilities. Essentially, what was once seen as a mere pastime in the realm of virtual reality is now being considered as a potential military asset. In fact, this recruitment drive also coming as Germany steps up its intelligence and defense capabilities. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Germany, remember, has faced repeated alleged Russian cyber attacks targeting government, political, critical infrastructure as well. Last week itself, Germany's cabinet granted the BND new powers to carry out non-lethal sabotage and cyber attacks abroad. This could also very well be a sign of how the spy game is changing worldwide. Quick reactions, cyber know-how, digital expertise are increasingly becoming valuable tools in modern intel gathering after all. Take America, for example, where gamers are being recruited to help control the skies as well. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, which is the US agency that oversees aviation safety and air traffic control, is targeting gamers in its drive to hire air traffic controllers. Imagine that. The FAA campaign, which was launched in April, has reportedly helped induct over 2,000 new controllers, reaching about 94% of its hiring target this year. Not just that, the FAA is now fast tapping into skills like fast decision-making, multitasking, strategy and problem-solving, central to great gaming, and potentially spying as well. For years now, the US military has turned to gaming and esports to reach new recruits. Now, as drones and unmanned systems transform the battlefield, gaming skills are taking the lead. The US Department of Defense, in fact, has documented military gaming programs while the Army continues to expand its use of unmanned systems as well. The pressing question here is, can today's gamers actually become tomorrow's spies, secret agents, and help governments meet the security challenges of this rapidly changing world? A quick look now at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We get to the story of the Japanese Prime Minister, who has talked about surviving on just around 3 hours of sleep, having long nights, and also having cockroach as a companion. We tell you more. We tell you why the actor Kriti Sanon in India is being trolled for tying a Rakhi to a dog. What's the fuss about? Singapore's new plan to tackle birth rate is to shell out money. We tell you more about this. All this and a lot more coming up. A crucial meeting unfolded between India and China as the Indian National Security Advisor visits Beijing for the 25th round of boundary talks. The meeting marking a push in mending ties. Following the meeting, China has released a statement stating that China and India are important neighbors to each other as well as major developing countries and representatives of emerging economies. Also saying that China is ready to work with India to approach bilateral relations from a strategic height and long-term perspective, strengthen communication, enhance mutual understanding, eliminate differences, overcome obstacles, and become good neighbors and friends of amity as well as partners for mutual success, so as to realize the dance of the dragon and the elephant. In fact, ahead of the talks, the WION also met the Chinese vice president, underlining the political significance attached to his visit. China said that the special representatives mechanism remains the main channel for negotiations on the border question, as well as a key platform for discussing bilateral, regional, and global issues. The Special Representatives Mechanism has a long history. It was formally established in 2003 during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's visit to China, remember, to seek a political framework for resolving the border dispute. 24 rounds have been held so far. The two sides have been gradually rebuilding relations after years of tensions triggered by the Galwan Valley clash. A limited reset has taken shape since the October 2024 disengagement agreement in eastern Ladakh. Direct flights have resumed. The Kailash Mansarovar Yatra has restarted. Some visa and investment restrictions have eased. This meeting also coming at a crucial time ahead of the Chinese president's possible visit to India for the BRICS summit next month. In fact, Xi Jinping is widely expected to attend his first visit to India in 7 years, potentially opening the doors for further bilateral engagement with India. The world is running short of missile interceptors. Wars in West Asia, Ukraine burning through air defense stocks at a frightening pace. Ukraine is pleading for more Patriots, while America is rushing to rebuild its own depleted inventory. And into this widening gap comes India's Akash, a battle-tested air defense system now attracting fresh international attention after Operation Sindoor. Take a look.
Modern wars are turning the sky into a battlefield of saturation. Ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, fighter aircraft, drones arriving in swarms. And the demand for one weapon is exploding: interceptors. The Patriot system has become one of the world's most sought-after air defense weapons, but years of fighting have exposed a brutal problem. There are not enough of them. According to reports, around 65% of US Patriot interceptor stock had been used between February and July during the Iran conflict, leaving fewer than 850 interceptors. Production is now being accelerated. Ukraine is adding to the pressure. Kyiv continues to plead for more Patriots to defend its cities against Russian ballistic missiles. President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for hundreds of additional interceptors.
На жаль, з балістикою найскладніше зараз. Якщо
Unfortunately, ballistic missiles are the most difficult challenge right now. While about 90% of the cruise missiles in this attack were intercepted, the situation with ballistic missiles is significantly worse. We need missiles for Patriots, and only our partners can provide them. At all levels, we convey to them both what we need and the fact that we know our partners are capable of meeting this need.
купувати зброю.
That is where Akash enters the picture. India's indigenous surface-to-air missile system is designed to detect and engage incoming aerial threats through a combination of radar, command systems, launchers, and interceptor missiles. The basic idea is simple. Find the threat, track it, calculate its path, launch Akash, and destroy it before it reaches the target. With a 25-kilometer operational range, it can target fighter aircrafts, helicopters, and drones. Akash demonstrated its capabilities during Operation Sindoor. That combat experience matters. So does the price. India has long positioned Akash as a lower-cost alternative for countries that cannot build or afford huge stocks of premium interceptors. The government approved its export in 2020 after interest from several friendly countries. India has exported Akash to Armenia, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. Brazil, Egypt, and the Philippines are among the other potential buyers. Several African and South American nations have also shown interest. But the battlefield is changing again. Drones are becoming cheaper, smaller, and more numerous. Using a multi-million-dollar interceptor against a low-cost drone is a losing equation. The future, therefore, belongs to layered air defense, combining missiles, guns, electronic warfare, and cheaper counter-drone weapons. That is Akash's opportunity. With the changing threat perceptions and the emergence of drone swarms, nations need an affordable shield against the new age of mass aerial attacks. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Let's now focus on what's happening in the UK. The question is, are prisons in Britain becoming breeding grounds for religious conversions? It's a serious concern. If Shadow Justice Secretary and Conservative MP Nick Timothy is to be believed, this is supposedly the case. He has now alleged that white prisoners are being forced to convert to Islam. And what exactly is his hypothesis for this? Referring to data allegedly published by the UK's Ministry of Justice, he claimed that 1 in 5 Muslims in UK jails is white. This is nearly 4 times the rate of 5.8% in the country's general population, by the way. According to reports, the number of white Muslims in UK jails has increased by 16% from 2022 to 2025. That's not all. The UK MP also claiming that the number of Muslims in UK jails has increased, accounting for 18% of the prison population. This also comes despite Muslims making up only 6.5% of the general population. In wake of this, he called upon the UK government to initiate a probe and stamp out forced religion conversions in jails. In fact, this is not an isolated accusation. It has reflected in reports commissioned by the UK government in the past. For instance, Jonathan Hall, who led a review of a legislation on terrorism in jails, found that some charismatic or violent prisoners act as self-styled emirs and ensure religious conversions by implicit or actual violence. Not just that, he claimed that 2 jailed terrorists had threatened other inmates in a bid to convert them to Islam. Another report by Colin Bloom stated that a new prisoner's failure to identify as a Muslim would lead to him being denied protection from the dominant Muslim gang in jail. Responding to UK MP's claims, a UK government spokesperson affirmed that there is no tolerance for intimidation, gang activity or faith-based coercion of any kind in Britain's prisons. The government also stressing that prison staff act swiftly to clamp down on threatening behavior from any groups or individuals. Last month itself, a report released by Britain's Inspector of Prisons revealed how dire the situation really is. After a thorough inspection of prisons, he found that availability of illicit drugs, often brought in by drones, remained the most significant threat to safety across UK jails. The forced conversion row is yet another wake-up call for the government in Britain. On to Singapore now. It's dramatically expanding financial support for families as it continues to battle a record low fertility rate. In fact, the government is offering eligible Singaporean children government support worth almost $55,000 from birth to age 17, including healthcare, education benefits. The high-value package was announced by the Prime Minister. This was on the 23rd of August at the National Day rally. In 2025, Singapore's fertility rate fell to a record low of 0.87 children per woman, down from 0.97 in 2024. That is, by the way, well below the 2.1 children per woman needed to keep the population stable without immigration. However, Singapore is not alone. Birth rates are falling across developed parts of the world. This as the rising cost of raising children and the impact on careers is leading more people to delay or avoid parenthood altogether. South Korea, Japan, China are also struggling with plummeting birth rates, aging population, a shrinking workforce. In fact, the Chinese government is now offering incentives to encourage childbirth after decades of population control policies. South Korea also is using cash payments, childcare, housing support, longer parental leave to encourage people to have children. And the fertility crisis is also spreading across Europe. Hungary has offered major tax breaks, housing support, other incentives to encourage larger families. But fertility remains below replacement level. Let's now talk about how the actor Kriti Sanon is facing backlash in India over a Raksha Bandhan ad, with critics questioning her outfit and the way the festival has been represented. And the actor has hit back, saying the focus should be on the emotion behind the festival, not clothing or anything else. The issue has got sharp reactions, leaving people divided, from BJP's Kangana Ranaut to Congress's Rahul Gandhi. Everyone has an opinion on what's right and what's wrong according to them. Let's just break this down. First, to how the controversy started in the first place. This was basically a jewelry ad featuring the actor released ahead of Raksha Bandhan. The ad shows her celebrating the festival with her brother before tying a rakhi on her pet dog. Some viewers felt the commercial moved away from traditional Raksha Bandhan customs. Others questioned the actor's modern Indo-Western outfit as well, calling it unsuitable for a festive campaign. The actor has reacted to this backlash. She said, "The festival is about the bond of protection, not about what someone chooses to wear." She also spoke about her bond with her sister, saying they tie rakhis to each other and pray for each other's health and long life. For the star, the bond of care also extends to her pets, like many others, whom she considers family. Her response has also found support online, with many calling the criticism unfair. Supporters argued that modern festive fashion does not take away from the meaning of a tradition, and also celebrating the bond with your pet. What's wrong with that? In fact, a lot of people do it. It's also encouraged. It's been defended by those who consider their animals part of their family, like almost any other pet parent. At the same time, some continue to believe that festive campaigns should stick closer to familiar customs. In fact, Rahul Gandhi has reacted on the matter as well. According to him, what a woman wears, what she does, where she goes is her choice. And he has urged people to stop trolling women for exercising their basic freedom. And this is not the first time an Indian actor has found themselves at the receiving end of such social media trolling, backlash. In today's digital age, anyone can become the next target for just about anything. And this time it happens to be this actor. But perhaps we also need to ask, where should one draw the line? Questioning a commercial is one thing. Turning someone's clothes or their personal choices and their celebration of a bond into a measure of culture is quite another. At the end of the day, traditions can evolve. They are according to people's choices. They can also choose how they celebrate them. What should remain is the respect, the emotion, the bond that the festival actually stands for. Japan's Prime Minister has a rather unusual confession. She has never seen the ghost set to haunt the Prime Minister's official residence, but she has seen a cockroach. And strangely enough, she says she missed it after it was gone. Why exactly? Let's tell you more about this. The Prime Minister, in a post on X, said she was shocked when a cockroach suddenly scurried past her feet inside the Tokyo residence, but the leader could not bring herself to kill it. Her childhood love for the manga legend. A story built around reincarnation. Takaichi says she thought the cockroach also could be part of the long cycle of reincarnation, so she let it be until her staff found out. One staff member reportedly decided enough was enough, it seems, and launched what Takaichi described as Operation Combat. Poison bait was set up. The cockroaches disappeared. While Takaichi was relieved reportedly, it also left her with an unexpected feeling. In her own words, she felt a little lonely or even sad. The Prime Minister also addressed the other legend surrounding the residence, that it's haunted by the dead from coup attempts in the 1930s, including the 1932 assassination of the then Prime Minister. Takaichi says she has never seen a ghost, just cockroaches, and it seems she was more emotionally attached to those. All right, a lot of people today are content creators. Some make funny reels, some record interesting moments in various ways, while others go to extreme lengths to grab a lot of attention. This story coming in from Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh. A man wanted his car to go viral and attract attention. Clearly, it did, but in the process, his unusual stunt also caught the attention of the police. The man's vehicle was covered bumper to bumper with around 3,000 lipstick kiss marks. These images showing the car almost completely covered with those marks. This unusual stunt quickly went viral on social media, clocking lakhs of views on Instagram. But the viral stunt eventually landed the car's owner at a traffic police station. The police imposed a fine of 5,500 rupees. That's not all. The owner was also given a rather less glamorous task, wiping every single kiss mark off the car, as you can see. These images of him cleaning the car have gone viral as well. What started out as an attempt to make a car go viral ended with a challan, a police station visit, thousands of kisses that had to be wiped away. And that is the lesson here. Let's now get to the Gravitas image of the day. For this, we take you to Bolivia. Heavy snowfall disrupted parts of La Paz and El Alto and impacted highways, roads, fuel availability, flight schedules as well. Amid this, people were seen playing in the snow and making a snowman. And we now focus on the big question hanging in the air, the answer to which determines a lot. US President Donald Trump has threatened to destroy any Iranian ship or boat placing new mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Not just that, he warned Iran that the US is keeping an eye on Pickaxe Mountain. The question here is, how will Iran respond to Trump's fresh threats over the Strait of Hormuz, and what lies ahead? Look now at some major events expected to unfold over the next 24 hours. Minister of State for External Affairs will be embarking on a visit to Vietnam on Wednesday, scheduled to meet senior leadership of the Vietnam government to review the progress in the bilateral ties between the two sides. Vietnam's foreign minister, meanwhile, will pay an official visit to Myanmar on Wednesday. This will be the first visit by a senior Vietnamese official to Myanmar since the 2021 military coup. The La Tomatina festival will be held in Spain on Wednesday, as part of which thousands of participants will throw ripe tomatoes at each other. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Cola Spa at home.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. Around 169 buildings have been totally reduced to rubble. Every time there's a warning, they just come to this public area where there are around 200 tents, and they reside for a while, and then they go back to their homes. Some of the Lebanese people enjoying their times, and some others forcibly displaced. From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION, World is One.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Cola Spa at home.
The architecture of war is changing. Geography is no longer a shield. The battlefield now stretches from sea to space. New weapons, new technologies, new theaters of conflict. From the factory floor to the firing range, from India's frontiers to the world's biggest defense exhibitions. Meet the veterans, industry stalwarts and innovators as India builds its military capabilities. Your 360-degree insight into the future of warfare. Watch Defense Pulse with me, Shivan Chandra.
No matter what your day throws at you, stay in the spa state of mind with the Cola Spa at home.
French football turns the page. Zinedine Zidane is the new head coach of Les Bleus. The French Football Federation has officially named Zidane as successor to Didier Deschamps, who steps down after 14 years in charge. For France, this is more than an appointment. It's the return of a national icon. Zidane was the heartbeat of France's 1998 World Cup triumph, scoring twice in the final against Brazil. He went on to win the Ballon d'Or the same year and led Les Bleus to Euro glory in 2000. As a manager, Zidane delivered an unprecedented 3 straight Champions League titles with Real Madrid. Now, the man who gave France its greatest footballing memory takes charge of its future. A national